Hello, welcome to Smash Hits Sports, the premier college sports podcast. And today we are going to talk college football coaching because I think there are a lot of conversations, especially after this week. Brian Kelly is fired. James Franklin is now fired. There are a lot of premier coaching positions open. So I want to talk through the 10 most desirable coaches in college football right now. So this is, here's how I decided this. The 10 most desirable. If you were to have every coach in college football be a free agent tomorrow, these are the ones that are signing the biggest contracts. They're signing first. These are, if you could have any pick of any head coach, regardless of school, these are the guys that you would want. So before we get into it, make sure to like and subscribe. If you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. If you're listening to the audio version of the podcast, make sure to follow wherever you're at, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all those places. And be a friend, tell a friend. It's the best way to help the show. So we're going to go backwards 10-1, and we're going to start with 10, who I think is the 10th most desirable coach in college football. It's a Big 12 guy, and it's Kenny Dillingham. And there's a lot that goes into this. One, he has taken Arizona State to the college football playoff. I think that is absolutely massive. You look at his recent work as an offensive coordinator at Oregon. He was outstanding as the offensive coordinator there. He has had really good quarterback development. So he was the offensive coordinator at Oregon in 2022. He was the offensive coordinator, quarterback coach at Florida State in 2020 and 2021. And we saw the tremendous steps that Jordan Travis took then. He's a quarterback's guy. The other side of this, so we know that he could take a team to the college football playoff. He's done it. He's winning in the Big 12, which it's not the Big 10 and it's not the SEC, but I do think that winning your conference and winning in the Big 12, especially when you were picked last in your first year in the conference to make the conference title, I think is very, very impressive. So he took Arizona State to the college football playoff. The guy is 35. He's 35. That's one thing that I took into consideration for this a little bit is I want a guy who can lead my program for the next 10 years, right? Do I think Curt Cignetti is a better coach right now? Yes, absolutely I do. However, if I trust the program, the hands of my program for the next 10 years, I think I'm going to pick a guy like Kenny Dillingham over a guy like Curt Cignetti. Now, is Curt Cignetti guaranteed to be washed in 10 years? No, not at all. But the guy is 64, right? 10 years from now, that's 74. We're talking that's Bill Belichick age, right? We've kind of seen how that has worked out. Now, obviously, it's a little bit different of a situation, but I tried to go a little bit younger here. So Kenny Dillingham is my number 10. And number 9 is a guy who I think doesn't get a ton of credit for what he's been able to do, but he has been absolutely outstanding as a head coach, and that is Eli Drinkwitz at Missouri. He has been tremendous. He's 56-27 as a head coach, 2-2 in bowls. He won the Sun Belt in the 1 year that he was the head coach at App State, and then he's also won an SEC Coach of the Year award in 2023. Now, do I think that Missouri is an impossible place to win? No, but to do what he's done in back-to-back season where it looks like they're going to win 10 games is very, very impressive. Winning in the SEC is a difficult thing to do. And I would argue that recruiting to Missouri is a little bit more difficult than recruiting to some of the premier coaching jobs in college football. I think that Eli Drinkwitz does an incredible job. He's an offense-first guy, which I like from a head coaching standpoint. And I think that he is one of the 10 best, maybe not one of the 10 best coaches in the sport, but I think if you could start your program over today, I think Eli Drinkwitz is a top 10 guy. Keeping it moving, we have a coach that has won a national title, like he's played at the highest level. I do think that he has shown the ability to win the biggest games, and that is Josh Heupel. Now, I know people are going to come at me in the comments and say that he got absolutely plastered in the first round of the college football playoff. They did. There's no denying that. However, that was on the road against an Ohio State team that eventually ended up winning the national title. So I don't want to hold that against him, but he is a very, very good coach. And he was outstanding at UCF. He's been great at Tennessee. And his offense is what really draws me to Josh Heupel. Now, I don't think his offense is a offense that would work at the NFL level, and honestly kind of like it that way, but he really loves to attack all three levels of the defense. His quarterbacks, if he can get a quarterback that can really play in his system, it is a beautiful thing to watch. So I think from a having fun aspect to winning football games aspect, I think he's a tremendous coach. When you look at his record, he's 71-25 as a head coach. I think that's just absolutely tremendous. He's only 47. Give me Josh Heupel as my number 8 head coach. Number 7 is, it's interesting because this guy's gotten a lot of shit recently, but it's because the expectations are so high where he's at, and that's Kalen DeBoer at Alabama. I understand that going out, losing to Florida State, who has not won a conference game since the Obama administration, is not a good thing. And last year, by losing to a bad Oklahoma team, is not typical of Alabama football. However, Alabama football has been 2 coaches. And outside of that, it's not shown to be easy to win at Alabama. But winning does come easy to Kalen DeBoer. He has 3 NAIA championships, 4 GPAC championships, a Pac-12 title. He has been absolutely outstanding as a head coach. His head coaching record is 120-17. 120-17. He has 10 wins for every loss that he takes. It's absolutely outstanding. And we are going to hold him and say he didn't do his job because Alabama didn't make the playoff last year. Look, I get it. But at the end of the day, I think he is a winner. He is an absolute winner. And we're looking at it this year. They lost to Florida State. And since then, Alabama has rolled through a gauntlet of a schedule, an absolute gauntlet. When you look at what Alabama has gone through, I mean, it is a sight to behold, and it gets easier down the stretch. They get Oklahoma at home. They play LSU, who just fired their coach, Eastern Illinois, Auburn. I would be shocked if Alabama did not run the table. And in their recent games, they go on the road. They go on the road and beat Georgia, who had like a 30-game home winning streak. They beat Vanderbilt, who is a top 10 team in the country, at home. They beat Missouri on the road to a guy who is already on my coaching list for how good of a job he's done. They beat Josh Heupel, another guy who's already on my coaching list, at home, who Tennessee has come in and upset Alabama in recent years. This is a coach who wins big games. Despite the fact that he has not taken his team as far as they would like him to go, the expectations are so unbelievably high at Alabama that it's a very, very difficult precedent to meet. And I think that 99% of the programs in college football would die to have Kalen DeBoer as their head coach. So he is my number 7 spot. The only thing that, he's 51, he's not old. Yeah, he's got gray hair, but damn, give the guy a break. He has been an absolutely incredible head coach. So Kalen DeBoer is my number 7. My number 6 is Steve Sarkisian. And I think 5, 6, and 7 to me were they are in their own tier. I think the first tier, the Dillingham might be his own tier. And then Drinkwitz and Heupel, I think are in a good tier. 5, 6, and 7 for me are in the same tier. My number 6 is Sark. I think Sark has been great as a head coach. Now, his head coaching career didn't last long at USC, but he was great as the offensive coordinator at Alabama. He's been the offensive coordinator for the Atlanta Falcons. His offense works, right? And I think people want him to, step back from the play calling a little bit and be a head coach. And that's fine. If that's your sentiment, I don't hate that. But at the same time, he's been a really, really good coach. He's brought Texas back to a spot where they are continually competing to be one of the best teams in college football year in and year out. And now they have 2 losses this year. Is that what you want? No. Right? That's not the expectation that Texas had coming into the season. They were one of the top 3 teams in the country headed into the season. You have a great roster. He can recruit his ass off. I mean, there's no denying that. I think that there are a lot of coaches in the country who, again, get some flack for not having a great record against teams that are really fucking hard to beat. And Sark is a damn good coach. He's 44-19 as the head coach at Texas. And while you would like to see that number go up, Texas was not in a great spot for a long time. Like that from essentially from the Vince Young era, Mac Brown, to when they hired Sark, it was a lot of meh. There's a lot of very average. And I do think it takes a special coach to elevate from that. I think Sark has done it. I think he could do it basically anywhere in the country. I think Sark is a tremendous head coach. Again, only 51. I think he's outstanding. That's why I have him at number 6. Before we get to number 5, if you enjoy my content, one of the best ways to support is to support our sponsors. And we have an unbelievable sponsor here at Smash Hit Sports in Home Field Apparel. They do an incredible job. They have so much college sports merch. It is ridiculous. They have any school that you could think of. They have HBCUs. They have like FCS. They have FBS. They have all of the biggest programs to all of the smallest programs. It is truly a college sports fan's dream. I get stuff from their website every year. It is my number one. It's my first stop when I Christmas shop. I literally go through my Christmas list and I say, who on my Christmas list is college sports fans? It's like, all right, I'm getting them stuff from Home Field because it's that good. It's that high quality. I buy stuff for myself every year. It is truly my favorite brand to work with. They treat you right. They're U.S. based. They're based out of Indianapolis. I mean, they do an incredible job. So shout out Home Field. Use code SMASH. Get 15% off your first purchase at homefieldapparel.com, or use the link in the video if you're watching on YouTube, or it's in my bio on social medias, all that stuff. Coach number 5. Again, the 5, 6, 7, same tier. So if you're going to argue with me in the comments that Sark shouldn't be below this guy or Kalen DeBoer should, whatever, that's fine. I'm okay with that. But at number 5, I have Lane Kiffin. He is very easily the hottest commodity in this coaching cycle. He is either going to stay at Ole Miss and get paid a god's salary, or he's going to go to Florida and get paid a god's salary. He's going to go to LSU and get paid a god's salary. And is it deserved? Maybe, maybe not. He's had a lot of controversy between Tennessee and USC and everything that's happened. He, did a stint at FAU, but he's a great coach. He's a great coach. And I think part of what makes Lane Kiffin so endearing as a head coach is that he's a likable human being. Whether you love him or hate him at Ole Miss, I think if he was your head coach, you'd probably enjoy him. He talks a little shit. Right? The press conferences are fun. His teams are fun to watch. They put up fucking points. They score. Like, that's one thing you'll never have to worry about a Lane Kiffin team, is whether or not your team's going to be at least fun to watch on Saturdays. They are going to be incredible. And the knock on Lane Kiffin is, well, he hasn't really won anything. Right? Like, he's won a lot of regular season games, but he hasn't really won anything. And it's like, well, at Ole Miss, he's given them their best seasons in the history of the program. Let me repeat that. The best seasons in the history of their program have come under Lane Kiffin. This is a program that has been in the SEC for a long time, has a lot of history. They're a very proud team, and the best in the history of their program. I hope that he stays at Ole Miss, because I think if he does stay at Ole Miss, they will build his ass a statue outside of Walt Hemingway Stadium. But I truly think that he is in a really good spot. I think he is an unbelievably desirable head coach. He's fun. He wins. He scores. Everything that you would want in your college football program, I think Lane Kiffin embodies. And he kind of embodies the college experience. And damn it, that's a lot of fun. The top 4, I had a really hard time breaking this down, because I think some of the top 4 are young, talented, but haven't won yet. The other side of the top 4 is have won. They've done it. They've been there. They've done that. They have national titles under their belt. They've won their conference. They've looked like the best team in football. There's no doubt. There's not a question. And it's one of those where you have to balance. Do you think that those guys are going to be around long enough to win you a national title? And I think the answer immediately is yes. So I took this tier or these final 4, and I split them up. It's the young guys who I think will have a national title before it's all said and done. And then there's the other side of the ballot where it's the guys who have national titles. So at number 4, a guy who doesn't have a national title yet, but is an absolutely outstanding head coach. He is 42-7 as the head coach of the Oregon Ducks, and it is Dan Lanning. And if you want to say, well, Dan Lanning's not one of the top 4 most valuable coaches in college football, I just don't know what you're looking at. There's a reason that his phone was ringing nonstop for the Alabama job last season. He said no. He's like, I'm going to stay at Oregon. There's a reason that people are like, Dan Lanning should come to LSU. Dan Lanning should come to Florida. Dan Lanning should do this. Dan Lanning should do that. I think Dan Lanning is great where he's at. That being said, if you could get any coach in the country to come to your program, Dan Lanning's one of the top 4 guys, without a shadow of a doubt. This is one where he's a defensive guy first and foremost, and yet his offenses have still looked great. Part of what has impressed me so much about Dan Lanning, the head coach, is Dan Lanning, the coach hirer. Hirer? Is that the right? Either way, what he's been able to do, he hired Kenny Dillingham. Young guy, unproven, has been outstanding. Outstanding. He was great as the offensive coordinator at Oregon. So good that he got a head coaching job. So then you bring in Will Stein. And Will Stein has been outstanding. And I think Will Stein eventually will be in contention for some of these head coaching jobs. He has been nothing short of incredible. They won the Big Ten championship in 2024. Like they had an undefeated season last year. Now, did they end up losing to the eventual national champions in the Ohio State Buckeyes? Yeah, sure. If that's your biggest knock against a guy, fine. I'll take that. I'll take that any day of the week. Give me Dan Lanning. I think he's unbelievable, an unbelievable head coach. I think he's an unbelievable head coach. Any program would be lucky to have him. And number 3, I can already hear the comments. Right? So I appreciate you if you are in the comments. I just want you to say I read every single comment on whether you're listening to this, YouTube, the podcast, all that stuff. I read every single one, and I do appreciate all of them. So let me know, first off, comment. Let me know what team you're here representing. But I am a Notre Dame fan. I will willingly admit that. All of my content, you have no problem identifying who I am a fan of. Right? I'm a Notre Dame fan through and through. That's fine. However, I try to be as unbiased as humanly possible when I make these types of lists, this type of content, when I talk about my team or any team. Because at the end of the day, it's not fair to me or to the listener for me to give you some sort of bullshit. And I truly think that Marcus Freeman is one of the 3 best or 3 most desirable coaches in college football right now. I truly believe that. There's a reason people have asked him about the Florida job and the LSU job and the Penn State job. I think he's an outstanding head coach. I think he's a great defensive coordinator. I think everything about him has done well. Cincinnati, he's the defensive coordinator when they go to the college football playoff under Luke Fickell. He then goes to Notre Dame. They have an elite defense. They make it to last year. They go to the college football playoff. They make it to the national title game. They lose to Ohio State. I think they're the only knock that I have on Freeman, and this is me being a fan, but I think anybody reasonably can give him this knock, is sometimes they lose games that they shouldn't fucking lose, right? Lost to NIU, unacceptable loss. They lost to Marshall at home, unacceptable loss. But at the same time, despite some of those unacceptable losses, they've still had really, really great seasons. Like to come back from NIU, that loss, and still show up, show fight each and every week to the point where you go on a run and you don't lose another damn game the rest of the year up until the national title, in which you lose to the eventual national champion Ohio State Buckeyes, who I think is one of the best teams we've seen in the last decade. I have zero fault if you want to argue that. He's an incredible recruiter. I think he does a phenomenal job handling the players, handling the pressure. Notre Dame is fun to watch. He is which this is not a gambling show. I don't expect it to be a gambling show, but he is unbelievable against the spread. He's unbelievable against the spread, which means they do go up against expectations. Marcus Freeman, since he was hired as the head coach at Notre Dame in 2021, is the best college football coach against the spread. Number 1. He is the number 1 college football coach against the spread since he was hired in 2021. And I think that's a testament to their teams being very prepared and quite frankly, looking very good. So no, I have Notre Dame at Marcus Freeman at 3. The guy's 39 years old, right? Like Dan Lanning, also 39. These two guys, they're young, they're talented, they're special. If you want to argue that Lanning should be above Freeman or vice versa, That's fine. I'm okay with that. I'm totally fine with that justification. At 2-1, we have two guys who have won national titles before. It's not a long fucking list. So number 2, it's Ryan Day. He has been absolutely outstanding at Ohio State. And number 1, you're going to be able to guess who it is pretty quick because he's the only coach that has more national titles than Ryan Day. That being said, Ryan Day, the floor of Ohio State since 2019, their floor has been absolutely incredible. It's like the least that they do is make a run for the college football playoff. That's the least that they do. He's 5-3 in the college football playoff. He has a national title. He has 2 Big Ten titles. Like he's 77-10 as a head coach. He's a phenomenal coach. He's a phenomenal coach. I don't think there's much to say about Ryan Day. He's 46. He's only 7 years older than Freeman and Lanning. Like he's an incredible coach. And part of the reason that he is a great coach is bringing in guys like Chip Kelly to be your offensive coordinator, bringing in guys like Jim Knowles to be your defensive coordinator, making those types of hires, doing the right things. Matt Patricia, who has been cast aside by the NFL, has looked incredible as their defensive coordinator. Brian Hartline. I mean, the hires that Ohio State, whether they've done it internally and promoted or gone out and pulled these guys from other programs or other teams or other, areas of football, it's been all the right things. Now, is recruiting to Ohio State very easy? You point to the rings on your fingers, the historical success, the fact that they are the only school in the state of Ohio who is a big-time football state, and say, hey, look, we're the top dogs here. It's real easy. Come here. You'll win 10 games a season, without a shadow of a doubt, and have a chance to compete for a national title. It's a real easy selling point. But I do think that Ryan Day, despite the fact that a lot of people give him the born on third base mentality, if every coach was available, Ryan Day would be one of the first 2 calls. I without a shadow of a doubt. The reason that he's not like in the discussion for the LSU and the Florida is because Ohio State's a better fucking job. And he would never leave. Like it's not even a question. The number 1 coach, he's a 2-time national champion. He has multiple national titles as the defensive coordinator at Alabama. Like it's without a shadow of a doubt Kirby Smart. I understand that there are some off the field things with Georgia, and you can ask every Georgia fan on the planet, and they will trade those things in for national titles in a goddamn heartbeat. They are 111-20. They don't lose games at home, outside of the fact that they lost to Alabama at home this year. They don't lose games at home. Like if you were to have a man lead your program and he could promise you that each and every year he's going to compete for conference titles, he's going to compete for national titles, he's going to make the playoffs, he's going to have a great defense, he's going to have some of the best athletes on the field always, like he can recruit his ass off, you trade that for a little bit of off the field controversy any day of the week. And again, it's not his controversy. It's his team's, right? Now, does he lead the program and should he probably figure out the driving issues a little bit? Yeah, absolutely he should. But do you trade that for multiple national titles? Yeah, you do, in a heartbeat. I mean, he's been absolutely outstanding. So, Kirby Smart, my number 1. Let me know in the comments if you think that my list is crazy, if you think that it's insane. This is obviously just my opinion, but I appreciate hearing from y'all because at the end of the day, Smash Hit Sports, it's community, right? I like hearing. I have we have a group on Instagram. It's almost 150 strong, which join it. It's free to join. It's just the channel, but it's 150 strong over there, and I call them the All-Americans because I truly think that the football fans and the community that we are building as the Smash Hit Sports program that we're building are some of the absolute best. So I enjoy hearing from y'all. Give me any and all comments about this list, what you think of it, and be a friend, tell a friend, like and subscribe. Send this to, if you have a college football, if you're a college football fan, you're probably friends with other college football fans. If you send this to them, it's the best way to help me out. I appreciate you, and I will see you in the next one.